So first, let's go over the intro of the song. Now, the intro by itself includes the primary riff that occurs throughout the song during each chorus, and there's also a riff at the end to lead into the first verse. It's also a riff that occurs throughout the song in between each verse. So let me just play it first, and then we'll break it down. So to start out, we've got our middle finger on the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th fret. To play that note, use the pinky to go to the 12th fret. And then put your, these are very specific fingerings for a reason. Then use your ring finger, go one string down on that 10th fret. And then what we're doing is, while that finger doesn't pick up, we make what is basically a partial B flat chord. So we've got fingers pressing on those 3 strings, but you can play the D if you want to. And all these notes that I'm referencing are relative to capo positioning, not actual notes. So to go with this slowly again. Ring finger, then form chord without picking the ring finger up. And then it repeats. But this time you make the fingering for a D minor chord. Then it repeats again. Back to the B flat. Once again to the D minor, and then to a C. So let's just cover that part again. When you're playing these, the B's, the B flat and the A minor chords, when you strum, you pick up the index finger to get this effect. And then there's a little riff here that leads us into the verse, and basically go ring finger, D string, three frets up from the capo, then an open G string, 2nd fret G string. Now we're on the B string, 3rd fret, same string, 1st fret. Back to the G string, 2nd fret, and then down to the D string, 3rd fret. So slowly. One more time. So then it sounds like this. And then you're ready to strum a D chord. So it does that right. You basically strum the C chord and go straight into that. So it sounds like So that basically is the intro part to the song, and that if you learn that, lays the foundation for most of the rest of the song as well. So next, let's talk about the chords for each of the verses. So basically here I'm playing a modified D chord. So this would be a standard D. And I'm switching these fingers so that I'm playing with the index finger and the middle finger, and then the pinky up on the 12th fret. So it gets that sound. That note is definitely there in the mandolin when he's playing. So when you just strum this, that's the sound you get. And then we go to an A minor fingering. And it basically just goes back and forth between these two chords. Now, you can also have fun with this and switch what note is on the bottom here. So I've been doing back and forth between the pinky and using the ring finger on the 3rd fret up from the capo to do things like this. And you can change up those patterns however you want. And then the same thing on the A. You can use the pinky on that same 3rd fret and get those kinds of effects. So that's not exactly like the mandolin part, but you can hear him kind of switching some notes around. Of course, this isn't voiced exactly like a mandolin, but that's one way you can approximate that. It also sounds perfectly fine just to hang and just leave your pinky on there. So it does that several times, and then this is basically like a G minor bar chord, I guess, is the fingering here. And then back to a C. And then this riff that we learned earlier, and back to the D. So if we do a whole verse, it sounds something like this. Another verse. So that's basically how the verses work. The time that changes is at the end of the 2nd verse. He doesn't do that riff. He goes straight into the chorus riff. So it sounds more like So that's that riff that we learned earlier. So they both go off the C chord. So if you're going from a first verse to a 2nd verse, or in between verses, you do the C and then this riff. And that is note for note what he plays on the mandolin. And if you're leading into a chorus, that's pretty much how the verses work. So the chorus is very similar to the intro of the song. The difference is we'll do a G minor chord and back to a D. So let me just play it first. Sounds like this. Thought that I heard you laughing, thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. So you can see the first things I was playing was exactly like what we learned in the intro, so I'm not going to really slow it down again. This stuff. The third time it does it, we're on the B minor, and then we basically go to a G minor bar chord, again relative to the capo, and then back to our modified D chord with our pinky on the E, and then to the C, into our riff that leads us back into a verse. So the last pattern again. And all the choruses work like that. So there's a break part in the middle of the song where the band is kind of doing strums on the downbeat of each measure. And let me just play this part first. It goes like this. And so the riff, we're really staying mostly on the top E string. So we're hitting the 12th fret, and then we hit the 10th, and then the 8th, and then we drop down one string to the 10th. And the very last time, when you hit this note on the top E string, then we basically just repeat that riff that gets played between every verse. So the very last time you're playing it goes like... And then you're strumming to go into the last verse of the song. So really the last thing to talk about is the very end of the song. After we do the chorus pattern for quite a while, and he finally lands on where it's basically hi-hat and the mandolin doing this. Now the mandolin, there's more than one string for that note, so it sounds a little richer than on the guitar. So what I've been doing is also playing this note with it. So I'm just playing the second from the top string, 10th fret, and then the top E string, I'm playing the 12th fret. And it goes on for a while doing that, and then it finally ends with the riff that goes like this. So it's very similar to what we learned in the middle of the song. We're on the top E string, 12th fret, 10th fret, 8th fret, drop down a string to 10th fret, and then use that same finger to play the 10th fret on the top E. So we go. And that is the whole song. Hope you found this useful and have fun with this song. It's a great tune.